Hello everybody, I'm Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to Busch Stadium, home of the St. Louis Cardinals and also home of the single-season home run king, Mark McGwire. Home run king, it's a crown worn by only a few gifted athletes. The home run. With one swing, he breaks the spirit of the opposition. It's what the fans come to see. The mighty slugger bearing down with his nerves of steel, and in a split second, when lumber meets cowhide, that unmistakable crack of the bat, the rush of adrenaline, as thousands stand in awe, and then the roar. In that one moment, the fan and the ball player share in something, a great sense of accomplishment, power, and joy. Of Mark McGwire's 70 home runs, 38 of them were launched out of this ball field, and for 70 times last season, fans everywhere shared in a chapter of baseball history. It was a summer that no one will soon forget in baseball. David Wells' perfect game, the Yankees' record run to a championship, and of course Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire. Although baseball is a team sport, McGwire single-handedly brought back the game to the fans. And in this next half hour, we go behind the scenes with Big Mac, talk about his run for 62, the upcoming season, and what lies ahead for McGwire after baseball. It's a look at Mark McGwire, Talkin History.
It hasn't changed my life the way I go about living every day. What it has done is change everybody else's lives that run into me.
61 home runs. It was supposed to be one of the unbreakable records. But when you smash the record books as Mark McGwire did last season, your status among baseball fans and the general population becomes elevated. The line between public and private life becomes less defined. As one of sport's most recognizable figures, Mark McGwire adjusted to the pressures of the home run race. And in the offseason, he had a chance to reflect on his own historic accomplishment.
First and third, 2 out. Into the field! Get up, baby! Get up! Get up! Get up! Home run! He's done it again! How much more can you give us, Big Mac? Number 70! Take a ride on that for history.
Here you are now, 5 months removed from hitting 70, and at the time you said you really couldn't fathom it. Is it set in at all right now?
70 home runs, I mean, that's something that I don't know how you can ever think about that. It's going to be something tough to break that. It's going to take something extra to do that. But you know, you just don't know these days. You know, things are meant to be broken, but 70 is a lot larger number than 62.
In your off season, is it tough for you to find any kind of release just to be a normal guy?
Well, I am normal. I don't do anything out of the ordinary. But yeah, it's sort of tough, just what happened last year. Tough, funny things in a matter of a few months. You really can't walk anywhere without somebody recognizing you and wanting to pull you aside and tell you the story. But it's all positive, though.
Is that the biggest thing, how 70 has changed your life more than just walking around trying to go to a movie, go to the grocery store?
Yeah, it's tough to do these days. It's not like I'm sitting here complaining to you, because I'm not. I still do it. It's just I have to mentally prepare myself to go out there. I think the people across the country saw that I was a normal person, and they understand that I am approachable. And they felt like they were a part of history, which I'm glad they did. I mean, it was something I'm proud about, that they can come up to me and tell me the story on where they were that night of '62, where they were the weekend of '70. I mean, it's historical. I mean, not many things like this happen in your lifetime, and I'm proud to say that I'm part of it.
McGwire reluctantly accepts his role as a superstar, but to him the adoration by fans can be taken too far, and at times it's been blown out of proportion by the media.
They said they interviewed my high school girlfriend. I didn't have a girlfriend in high school. This girl they interviewed said that she was my girlfriend all the way through high school. That's the only thing that bothers me, is they go digging for things like that. Not that it's digging bad, but I wish they would come to me and ask me, do you know so-and-so? And do you think it's okay if we go talk to them? And then I'd say yes or no.
How has '70 just changed your life away from the game of baseball? Or has it? Do you allow it to?
It hasn't changed my life the way I go about living every day. What it has done is changed everybody else's lives that run into me. You know, I've always had a tough time getting used to people recognizing me, but it's gotten to the point where I can't go anywhere, but it's tolerable. I think I'm very cordial. I'm probably way too cordial than a lot of guys would be in my position, because my friends that I hang out with just say, I don't know how you do with it, handle it every day, and if I don't sign somebody's autograph at that given time, it doesn't mean that I don't want to. There's a time and a place for it, and I hope they understand.
You kind of came under some criticism because you can't be everywhere all the time, the banquet circuit.
Right.
People just have no understanding of what you go through, do they?
No.
What's it like?
There's not enough days in the year, hours in the day, for me to do everything that people have asked me to do this year. The thing that really does bother me is these awards banquets. I would prefer them to call me and ask me if it was okay to give me an award before they advertise that they're giving me an award and then call me secondary. I don't think it's fair on my part, because I am not going to travel across the country to do all these things. I have a son that I have to attend to during the off season, because I'm away from them all the time during the season. They have to understand that.
When we come back on Mark McGwire Talkin' History, Big Mac looks ahead at '99 for the St. Louis Cardinals, and he addresses the criticism his manager has fallen under from former players.
The only type of player that doesn't like to play for Tony La Russa is the person that does not want to come to the ballpark and play every day.
Mark McGwire is now entering his second full season with the Cardinals. He was brought in to help win a pennant. Well, last season, he did just about everything to help the Cards win, but they finished a disappointing third in the NL Central. Now with a complete overhaul of the roster during the offseason, training camp in Florida was filled with a renewed optimism as rookies and veterans look towards opening day. You like the way the team is coming together?
I do. I'd put up our bullpen against anybody's bullpen in the game of baseball right now. And we literally have 3 stoppers. We have some nice setup men. We have some good middle relief. Our starters are very capable. If we just believe that we can do it and come together. I mean, I know everybody hears it every year, but it's true. I mean, you can't say it any other way. You have to win coming together as a team.
When you signed, they made a commitment to you by saying, we'll be aggressive in free agency, we'll do some different things, and basically a handshake deal with you to be aggressive. Have they done that?
Yeah, to the best of their ability. It's tough today to get anybody good. It's, people have somebody that's good and that's tradable. They're asking for the world, and, I don't want the Cardinals to give the world up for one guy.
One guy who did cash in during the offseason was free agent pitcher Kevin Brown. Over $100 million to one player.
I don't think anybody's worth that much. I don't think anybody's worth the money I'm making. It's the truth.
But you can't begrudge a guy
But you know
for
what?
doing that.
No, you can't. That's what the market dictates, and if they're going to be idiotic enough and pay it, are you going to turn it down?
Of course not.
I know. So it's like, what can you do as a player when somebody's going to give you that much money? You're not going to turn around and walk away from it. So there's a definite problem in the future. You know, the smaller market teams aren't going to be able to compete.
Competing is something that McGwire's manager, Tony La Russa, loves to do.
The only type of player that doesn't like to play for Tony La Russa is the person that does not want to come to the ballpark and play every day. That's it. That's what it comes down to. He has two rules on his team. One is to be on time, and two is to play hard 9 innings. It's not that tough. For the amount of money we get paid to come to the ballpark for 3 hours a day, I don't care if you don't feel like playing that day. You can sure in hell fake it. There's so many players that I know that have left Tony and gone somewhere else, and they call back complaining that they didn't realize how good they had it when they were with Tony.
When we come back on Mark McGwire Talkin' History, Big Mac takes us back to the great home run chase of '98, and he lets us in on his biggest fear during the chase.
I can only imagine what they would have been saying if, well, he broke the record, but he couldn't hold on to it.
All that and more coming up on Mark McGwire Talkin' History. Where were you when Mark McGwire hit number 62? How about number 70? Well, those were moments in sports that we'll never forget. Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa swinging for the fences and battling down to the wire. While we enjoyed the home run derby as fans, it took its toll on the man they called Big Mac, Mark McGwire. Was it harder to get to 62 or harder to hold off Sammy at the end?
It was harder to hold off Sammy at the end. It was tough enough to get to 62. Don't get me wrong. That's totally pressure-filled. But for me dealing with the pressure and being tabbed as the guy to do it since January of last year when the first article came out, in spring training, going into the beginning of the season, hitting the first 4 games, hitting home runs, going into the All-Star break, and then reaching 62 first and breaking the record. And then knowing I had 3.5 weeks left, and knowing that Sammy is right on my tail. And this is all what I've realized over this last few months of what this whole season entailed as far as the pressure situation. And it came to me that that last 3.5 weeks were more pressure-filled than 62, because I can only imagine what they would have been saying if, well, he broke the record, but he couldn't hold on to it. You know, he couldn't deal with whatever he needed to deal with. But you know what, they can't say it, because I didn't allow it to happen because of my concentration and my mental state that I was in as far as playing the game of baseball. And, you know, I kept plugging. I knew that this season, this record wasn't done with until the last out of the last game.
What would be more important, 70 home runs or 4 consecutive seasons of 50 or more?
Both of them.
Is there one that's above the other in your mind?
Well, I mean, I would definitely think 70, just because I think it's going to be tough to break. 50 or more, 4 seasons in a row. Mr. Griffey's right there closing in on 3.
Is there a guy that you think can even come close to doing what you've been able to do that's playing currently?
Hitting 70? Well, I'm sure there is, but it comes down to, are they tough enough mentally to deal with the pressure? And the pressure is, I mean, I know what it took to get to 62. And go 10 more to go to 71. I mean, it's, I don't know if I'd want to be in that person's mind.
What would 500 mean to you?
Well, it's fantastic. To me, that's a unbelievable number as far as how my career's gone, so I'll be ecstatic.
Coming up in our final segment, McGwire tells us that he thinks he's just hit his prime, and that playing till he's 40 isn't out of the question.
At least shoot for 40. That's number 5.
Also, Big Mac lets us into the charitable side of the St. Louis Slugger when we come back with more of Mark McGwire. Mark McGwire is a gifted athlete, and there's no denying that fact. He has recently signed a contract to continue playing baseball for the St. Louis Cardinals, so his financial future is secure. Baseball is his life. It's his bread and butter. But there's another issue Mark is deeply involved in: the fight to end child abuse. It's an effort to send a message of awareness across the nation. How does he get that message across? Through the Mark McGwire Foundation for Abused Children.
Are you touching a child inappropriately? Do you think about it?
Think about it.
Think again. It damages the child for life. You may have been one of those children. Think again. Were you? Think again. It's time to break the cycle. It's time to stop the abuse. It's time to do something about it.
Child abuse is sort of like solving the drug problem. You know, I don't think you're ever going to solve it, but you can talk about it and make the awareness out there. And the more I talk about it, and the more kids can stand up and say, listen, here's Mark McGwire, a baseball player, and I like what he has to say, and I believe in what he has to say, and I've been abused in some way or another, and I'm going to go get some help. You know what? That's important to me.
Have there been young kids that have come up to you and maybe been abused or been in a situation with that?
I have not had any young kids talk to me about it. I've had a lot of adults come up to me and tell me about their abuse that they've gone through, and some of those stories have happened this winter. It's been unbelievable.
As you're heading down the stretch run of your own career, how many more years would you like to play?
At least shoot for 40, so that's number 5. You know, that's a good round number, and see how I feel.
Would you have said that 5 years ago?
Probably not. You know, I mean, I don't like to look so far ahead. I'm making a statement now. I mean, I could, you know, call it quits after 3 years. Who knows? But 40 would be a great number to stop. You know, God willing. You know.
You said you hit your prime.
I'm in my prime. I'm in my prime, yeah.
Now, would a 23-year-old Mark McGwire disagree with the mid-30s Mark McGwire about hitting his prime?
Well, a 23-year-old Mark McGwire is nowhere near the Mark McGwire he is right now. I'll tell you that. I don't even know that guy back then. That guy is long gone, believe me. You know, I look at some pictures of me back then. It's scary. I don't even want to look at him because it's not the person I am today, and it's just, it's definitely an eye-opener. I've come a long ways as a person, and still am working at it. But I've come a long ways as an athlete too, and it's funny when you look at old pictures like that, and you shake your head and go, I don't want to see that ever again. You know?
As McGwire envisions playing till 40, he also envisions life after baseball, but not out of the game.
I'd like to be a hitting coach if it's in the minor leagues, if it's in the big leagues, or maybe if it's in college. I mean, I'd love to teach. I mean, I've been on top of the game. I've been on the bottom of the game. I've been injured. I've won a World Series. You know, I think I have a lot to offer some young kid that might be struggling with something that I can help them with.
Baseball fans will be hard-pressed to top last season's excitement during the race for the home run crown. In a few days, this stadium will once again be home to one of baseball's greatest. Will he hit 70 again? Can he break his own record? Well, one thing is for certain, we will all be watching once again. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the 1999 season.